Mostly, I blame society, as in the society of the WWE that values fans over personal care. I'm Chris Wolvie, wrestling vlog, who always tells it like it is. 1 out of 5 for War Games. Ugh. I should be demoted to Buck Private for those picks. But anyway, like so many others, I was shocked when the Hardy Boys returned at WrestleMania 33. And I was even more shocked when they won the Raw Tag Team titles in that ladder match. But it was a good kind of shock. They needed a veteran team who was well loved by the fans and extremely charismatic, and that fit Matt and Jeff to a T. But then, Jeff got seriously injured and left the cameras to Matt, who proceeded to finally get his Delete released from TNA and turn him into this weird mix of Riddle and Paul Bearer. He even managed to turn Bray Wyatt face for a brief while. Eventually, Matt was released and later picked up by AEW, meaning that Jeff was alone again, returning just as the WWE retreated into their performance center for fear of COVID-19. Now, this didn't seem to be too bad an idea. I mean, Jeff has had an individual accolades that Matt never had in the WWE, including 3 world title reigns. With or without Matt, he seemed a natural to stay around and keep the TV crowd interested, even if there was no one live to cheer for him. But WWE seemed to forget that Jeff Hardy had his own demons to deal with. Demons which probably would have made Eddie Guerrero's demons shirk a little. In 2009, in between stints in WWE and TNA, he was arrested for and later pled guilty to trafficking prescription drugs. He served 10 days in jail, 2.5 years in probation, and paid a $100,000 fine. Furthermore, while recovering, he was arrested in 2019 for public intoxication, and then he got a DUI charge less than 3 months later. Like I said, much like Eddie Guerrero, he was fighting the pain of his injuries, but it was in ways that left him even more depressed. It seemed like rehab was the best course of action for Jeff. But no. The WWE was in panic mode with the lockdown. They needed a veteran superstar to keep the ratings up. So they got Jeff back in the ring as soon as humanly possible. Though it seems not as soon as humanely possible. And what angle did they give Jeff upon his return? Being kayfabe arrested for drunk driving, of course. And then getting Sheamus on his case for his said alcoholism, ending in a bar fight of all things. Guys, severe alcoholism is no laughing matter. Not only does it make you look and act stupid on the outside, but it tears apart your insides too. Too much alcohol consumption can lead to failing liver and kidneys, possible ulcers, not to mention the brain damage. And when you sober up, you're even more bummed than you were when you started drinking. The WWE should have realized that Jeff had a problem as soon as those 2 arrests were made. Instead, they brought him back and made it into a joke. I mean, full marks to Jeff, he just rolled with it. But in the back of his mind, he must have felt disgusted. Here he was, a former world champion, and the best he can be in the WWE now is a 9-time Intercontinental Champion and a punching bag against rampant alcoholism. Pardon, after he lost said IC title, he seemed to be relegated to pushing other superstars who, let's face it, didn't need pushes. Elias didn't need help, but Jeff traded blows with him anyway. Karrion Kross didn't need it as he was NXT champ at the time. Jeff beating him for the first time ever was the beginning of the end for both of them, it seemed. Then came recent history. During a house show last week, Jeff was tag teaming with Drew McIntyre against Happy Corgan and Madcap Moss. After a while, Jeff tagged Drew in and then left through the crowd. The Hardy family insisted on Twitter that Jeff was fine and with his girlfriend and their 2 children at the compound and that all's good. And last week, Jeff Hardy was officially released from the WWE. Now, normally when a superstar leaves the WWE suddenly, I blame the wrestler. That's usually because the reason for the departure is selfishness and disenfranchisement with the WWE, much like Phillip Brooks many years ago. But this time, I'm firmly blaming the company for either not noticing or flat out ignoring the signs that Jeff had a problem and needs to deal with it mentally instead of physically. Jeff is sick. His many injuries has caused him to kill the pain in such a way that it nearly killed his motivation. He drowned his sorrows in alcohol and who knows what prescription painkillers he was given. And much like Eddie Guerrero, the WWE forced Jeff to work through the pain. Now, yes, both Eddie and Jeff may have said that they were fine and that their demons were under control, but if the WWE had learned anything from Eddie, it should have been that demons like that can never be fully controlled. Eddie needed help, didn't get it, and he overdosed. Maybe Jeff learned from Eddie and decided his mental and physical health was more important than the WWE's fiscal health. When he felt the demons rising once more, he essentially said, "Nope, I'm out." And instead of getting him the help he needed, the WWE fired him. If Jeff shows up clean and sober on AEW sometime next year, I'm going to say good for him. And he and Matt can be the only team to win WWE, Raw, SmackDown, TNA, WCW, and AEW tag team titles. And then they can stick their middle fingers up at the WWE for letting the team they called the world's greatest tag team of all time get away. Good luck, Jeff. Thoughts and prayers all around. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blog who always tells it like it is. Stay safe, and I'll see you